Alright guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the Target Top 350Z. We're actually going to be installing this shifter. This shifter, it's by Bull Boost Performance. They actually just made this shifter, so we're going to try it out, see if it's any good. I know there's a lot of shifters out there that look identical to this. This one is half the price, so we got it. This is not a sponsored video. So since we're doing a race style shifter, we're also going to be doing a solid transmission mount on this car. It's just a part from GK Tech, fairly inexpensive. I think this is going to pair good with that. And then we're going to be doing some solid motor mounts. I've never ran solid motor mounts in any of my cars, so I'm kind of hoping I don't regret this, but worst case, I'll just slap the old ones back on. I do know it's going to rattle a lot with these solid mounts, and after we get all that installed, we're also going to be installing these new wheels we got. We did figure out who Ray was. These are some Ray's Hemlights. They're a nice little wheel. I actually got a really good deal on these. One of the homies was selling his cars and needed stock wheels put back on his car, so we worked out a trade and I ended up with these. We also did install brand new rubber on here, and helping us today we got my little brother. All right, so to get the 350Z on the lift, we do have to remove this front bumper. All right, so I just have to turn the wheel, that way he can get to the zip ties, and then two of these little clips. And just like that, the front bumper's off.
So this is our little beauty cover. It's basically this, but just cut right here. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and slap this on. It makes it look a little prettier.
And it's just two of these clips holding that on. And ta-da! Alright, so before we get this thing in the air, we're just going to pop the top off of this. That way it's a little easier to film us installing the shifter. So we're just going to undo this right here. Just like that. Now we're just going to pull up and slide the back forward. Alright guys, so we have the top off the car, but we were trying to remove our shifter and we were using these vice grips and we couldn't get it off, so we're just going to hack that thing off of there. My little brother's just going to be using the grinder.
You can pull up on this and it should just pop out something. And you got your like little clip right here. Shove that in there. Now after removing that trim piece, we need to take out these 4 bolts holding this on. Now we got to remove this little rubber piece.
Now I'm assuming that's the reverse lockout.
So if you guys don't know, this is actually how the reverse lockout works. You just push down and it goes under that tab, and then it gives you your little extra room for your reverse. And this is how it looks like when you go into 6th.
So we're about to get rid of all that engineering and we're gonna go with this. I think it is gonna look a lot better and maybe feel like more of a race car. So now we're just gonna start removing these 3 bolts. So the shifter won't come out, so I'm assuming there's gonna be something underneath there that's probably bolted onto it. So we're gonna get this thing in the air and check it out. Alright guys, we have the 350Z up in the air.
So for the shifter, it really doesn't look that bad. It really only looks like there's 1 bolt.
Now I'm removing the bolt off the selector rod. On my car, it's a 12 millimeter. This car has all sorts of weird random bolts on there. She ain't no virgin.
We are going to be doing a transmission mount, so you might have to remove these pipes and just bend them down a little bit and support the tranny so we can swap that out.
We're just gonna break those loose real quick. Guys, so we now have the mid pipe loose on here. We have plenty of access to get to those bolts now. We do have the transmission supported with our jack. So we're just gonna remove this cross member, and inside there is where our transmission mount's at. Now we're just loosening this bolt right here. Thing. All right, and that should come down. That thing broken? It doesn't even have any bolts up there. Oh man, that's why it felt like shit. So we're removing the 1 bolt that was on there, but that is absolutely why the transmission kind of felt like not so good in this car. We did replace the clutch on this, but whenever we did the clutch, we just dropped the transmission. We didn't even bother with the mount, which I guess we should have checked it. So yeah, we got the transmission mount out. The transmission mount is obviously shot. I'm sure it having only one bolt and sliding around all the time probably wore it down pretty good. Kind of sucks, we just found out. We've been drifting this car for like 2 years straight. And I've always noticed something weird, but I thought it was just, you know, it's a 20-year-old car, but this was definitely an issue. But luckily with this new mount, we shouldn't have any more problems, so let's install this. Now that we actually have the transmission mount out, we actually know how this whole thing's supposed to work. So the way this goes in there is, you see this little hook right here? If you try just putting it in there, it doesn't fit. So you have to hit it from the side, hook it on there, and then it holds the cross member up. So knowing that, I think we're gonna put the transmission mount on there first, bolt it up, make sure it's all secured on there. Then we'll hang this on there, and that should be the way to do this. We just figured out both our transmission bolts are actually stripped, so we're gonna be drilling and tapping in new threads. Now we're just using this tool to cut new threads into here. This is the best way to fix this, and that should be about it. The bolt seems to thread in there perfectly fine. We are gonna have to drill out the transmission mount just a little bit bigger because this new hardware doesn't quite fit in there, but that shouldn't hurt anything. So whenever you're drilling some of this stuff out, it's nice to use a lubricant. That way you're not doling out your blades or drill bits. So now we're just working on removing this bracket right here. All that actually needs to come off. That way you have room in there to slide the new shifter in. So to remove this brace, there's one bolt holding it on there, and there's one on the other side. Then there's a couple up here that are kind of a pain to get to, but he's working on it. Now we're just removing that shifter bracket. Not too sure if we're supposed to lower anything, but hopefully we can just slide it out. We're able to get it off. The only thing we have unbolted is the mid pipe. This is just a eBay mid pipe, so I'm sure most of you guys probably have the same one. Alright guys, so now we're just tightening this down. New threads seem to be pretty good on there. So now it's time to get our shifter on there. We're going to start assembling this Bullboom shifter. So first we're going to start off with the dust cover. There's not really any instructions with this whole kit, so we're just kind of learning as we go. I think this dust cover, first little rib right here, it's going to go over this lip. Alright. So that's the dust boot. Now we're going to be removing this little bolt right here. That way this can just slide out. Then we're going to run this through here. Something like that. Put this back in there. And put that back in there. There's that. Now on this side, so you got to run your hardware through the bottom down. It's pretty cool. So the threads are actually on this portion of the shifter. Grab some hardware. Good old China stainless. Alright, so with these back bolts, they make this portion so you're able to slide this back. So you gotta just loosen this hardware. Then you're able to slide that little red piece back a little. As you guys can see, it is slotted right here. That's supposed to push back a little, that way you can get your bolts in there. So the shifter did come with some extra hardware. As of right now, I'm not too sure where that's supposed to go, but we will find out as we go. We officially ran out of daylight, but we are finally getting to install the shifter.
So it kind of looks like it just pops right in there, just how the old one kind of did.
Alright guys, we have the shifter bolted on the chassis, so now it's time to connect it to the linkage. So we're just going to lift this up. So I actually forgot to cut the zip tie. That's right there, so I got to do that. So we got the bolt on there nice and tight. It was just a 12mm on there. Now we're just going to slap on our new wheels. All right, guys, so we got the wheels back on the 350Z, and it actually looks pretty freaking good. We decided not to put the front bumper back on there, just for now. All right, so now to show you the shifter. So we have our shifter in there. We still don't have our center console put back together yet. We're actually kind of experimenting right now. So this is the one that comes factory on a 6-speed, and this is one that comes factory on an automatic car. And we notice you actually don't have to really do any trimming. The one thing I'm gonna have to do is swap out the rest of the center console, but I think that might be worth it. On the stick shift up, you have to notch out right here, and I don't know, it doesn't look terrible honestly, but I don't know if we can get away with using this one. I think that'd be pretty cool. So overall, the shifter actually feels nice and crisp. The shifts actually feel super notchy. The shifts did get a lot shorter, which that's kind of cool. It does center itself, so that is nice, and the reverse lockout does work as it should. Overall, I think it's worth the $220 I paid for this. I did buy it during Black Friday, so I did get kind of a deal. I did see that there's another shifter that looks awfully similar to this. Overall, for the price I paid for this, I am happy with it. I know this company gets a little bit of hate just because their products are a bit cheaper, but overall, I don't think the other product that is very similar to this is twice as good as this. So I don't know, 220 bucks. I think it's worth it, guys.